So it's been 3 months now since we purchased and installed this roof rack for our Mojave Desert trip. And so on today's episode of TrailRecon, I'm going to give you my impressions of it, and I'm going to answer some of the questions you've been asking. So stay tuned. Alright, so a lot of you probably have a lot of questions about this roof rack. I know because I've been getting a lot of questions over the last 3 months. And to be honest with you, when I did my research on this rack, there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. So hopefully today I can help answer a lot of those questions that folks are having and deciding whether or not they want to get this rack. Let me start off by saying, you know, I really like this rack. I really like the way it looks. I like the functionality of it. I love that we can take it on and off very easily. It takes my son and I about 10 minutes just to take this thing on and off. It's great for carrying the gas can, for carrying firewood, and the light mounts on the front and back are very convenient. So I'm very happy it's meeting our needs, but let me answer some of the specific questions that you all have been having. Did I lose any miles per gallon when I put the roof rack on? Yes. We lose about 1 to 1.5 miles per gallon, but that was to be expected. I mean, you're putting some drag on the Jeep, so we kind of knew that was going to happen. But the nice thing is, when I'm commuting a lot to and from work, it's very easy to take this off and then I can gain that back. How much does the rack weigh? So I did weigh it with the lights on it. It weighs about 50 pounds. How tall is the rack? So this is a big question a lot of folks have had about those that are parking in the garage, and I'll tell you, from the top of the roof line to the top of the rack, it's 6.5 inches. So if you're thinking about whether or not you're gonna have clearance, there's the number, guys. It's 6.5 inches. Does it interfere with satellite radio? I haven't had any problems with interfering with my satellite radio. I don't have a navigation, so I can't speak about navigation, but what I will tell you is, this last weekend when we were up in Big Bear, I had the lights on and I had the CB on, and I was getting some interference from the CB, so I've got to sort that out, but I'm not sure really what the cause is just yet. Is there any wind noise? Yes, there's absolutely some wind noise, but it's not terribly annoying. It's not obnoxious, but when I have it on versus having it off, you definitely notice a difference. But the truth is, guys, we drive Jeeps, so they're noisy anyway. How did you mount the gas can? So I did a collaboration video with Jeep Solid and reviewed the Rotopax gas system that we took with us on the Mojave trip, and in that video I showed how we mounted up there. It's very simple, it's just a couple clamps. So go over there, I'll put a link up there, go take a look at that video, and that should help you out deciding on whether or not you want to put that gas can up on this rack. How much weight does the rack hold? So Smittybilt has it rated at 150 pounds. Now there's some folks that have asked, well, can you throw a tent up there? You know, because the tent, you know, static weight maybe can hold 500 pounds. Well, I don't know if you can. I will say that they rated at 150 pounds. I wouldn't put any more than that. And the reason I wouldn't put any more than that is because your front support is on this rain gutter, and I don't know that I would want to trust a whole lot, a whole lot of weight on there, especially if I had 2 people up in a tent on those rain gutters. I would say 150 pounds, probably the best max to go with there. How did you route the lights? So I'll walk around here for a second and show you what we did to mount the lights. Very simple. I'm still not happy though with how it's worked out, and let me show you why. Alright, so there's no wiring diagram that comes with how to wire this up. It is nice that this roof rack has 6 different points for mounting lights. It's got 4 up front and 2 in the rear. All I did was take my old aux beam lights and I mounted the 4 in the front, and I mounted those in series. So I connected all the red wires, connected all the black wires, and then routed those onto a single wire all the way to the rear. And then with the rear lights, I did the same thing. I wired those together and then came here on a separate line. So I've got 2 lines, one for the front, one for the rear, coming through here. And what I did was I used this protective wire loom stuff that I picked up at the hardware store. I really like it because it's kind of flat, but it's very flexible, and it's a good protection for those wires. And my hope was, by using this, routing those wires through there and sliding it through the glass, that the gasket behind here would seal up really well and I wouldn't get any leakage. Well, that's not the case. It doesn't leak bad, but when I sprayed it down with the hose, I still got a couple of leaks back there. So I don't know if that means that I'm gonna end up drilling or if I'm just gonna deal with the way it is. I haven't really decided yet, but for now, this is gonna meet my needs. Now I do have this hardwired all the way to the front. I just tucked it in along the side, under the door jambs, through the firewall and into the S-Pod. But what I am going to do is I went to the hardware store and I found these quick disconnects, and these are actually in the trailer section. And what you can do is you can just pull these off. just like that. And so I'm gonna get one of these for the front and then one for the rear, and then with the disconnectors that are already in here for when you take the top off, then all I have to do is pull these off for the front lights, pull them off for the rear lights, and then everything comes off and it'll be just perfect. So I think that's gonna work really well. So not 100% solution, but those were they're asking, that's how I've got my lights wired right now. All right, so that's our 3-month review of the Smittybilt Defender roof rack. Hopefully we were able to answer some questions that you had about the rack, and hopefully this was helpful to you. If there's some other questions that maybe we didn't answer, please feel free to throw them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We really appreciate everybody watching these videos. I hope you find them informative. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. And until next time, we'll see you out on the trail.